Hey everyone, so nice to be here on
And
election
so,
night.
yeah, so let me set the table here. And if you're watching us, everybody, thank you for joining us. And I do this for you,
It's
for
amazing that
sure.
we have 38 people on. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I do it for them. Also, I do it for $40 a month, a year. So anyway, but let's set the table. If you're watching, you can also go on your email. I sent a special an update for the election. What we just learned here that we're going to go through. But let's start from the top. 14th congressional district. It's the race to replace Eric Swalwell. And as a side note, in Alameda County, 1,000 people voted for Eric Swalwell in these early first returns. 1,000. Anyway,
Wow.
but Aisha Wahab is leading by just under 20 points for one of two seats. Melissa Hernandez is at six. Aisha Wahab's at 36%. Melissa Hernandez at 16. Wendy Wang, the Republican, at 15. Another Republican, Dina Maldonado, is at 13, and Ronnie is at 10 right now. Do we maybe we should just go and we'll talk about this one first. Your thoughts. This kind of looks like what I thought we would see, except the Republicans are coming in strong. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, did it?
I There's just a little bit of a lag, but I'm back.
Well, then let's go to over in. I'll bring this up for this other race I've been covering in the state Senate district, and that is a two-county race. So you
You're
have
talking about the
here's
10th Senate district.
yeah, so here's a little tip. You got to go to the Secretary of State's website to see the totals from both sides, or you can do the math. And they have not yet updated it, but I could tell you that Scott Sakakihara is doing well in both counties. He's a Union City guy, and frankly, until now, most people in Union City or Alameda County had never of him, and so you can also surmise that they really didn't know him in Santa Clara County, but he has apparently
Hmm.
has overcome that, and he is in a first or second position with the Republican
Hmm.
Linda Price, who we frankly do not know if she's alive, but she's doing well. And
Oh
so
God.
that is we were at that debate, East Bay Insiders debate for
Yes.
SD10. David Cohen and Ann Kepner are not doing very well at this moment.
Is there any chance that Ann Kepner could be second or even David Cohen? No.
Well, we should couch from the beginning that, these are very early. These are also typically kind of conservative. Conservatives is the thought. Moderates, conservatives, they vote first. So these are the first batch of votes that the county received. So that in this case, I don't think that helps. That knowing that is not very helpful to David Cohen, who is a San Jose council member, and Ann Kepner, who is, you know, her base is presumably Santa Clara County. This is kind of like the governor's race. If you get in the top two with a Republican, you are essentially the governor and the state senator. So at this moment, it's looking like this could be the Scott Saki Kirara. They got to be juiced tonight because they're likely almost let's measure the curtains in the Capitol, but there's still a lot of time to go. A lot of time to go, but this is looking very good for Scott Sakakihara, who we thought just disappeared in that debate.
He did. It was really interesting. There's been a bunch of outside spending for him, and he has clearly outspent the field. So it's not super surprising.
Yeah. So over at Alameda County DA for a short term, it's 2 years. Technically, this is not technically. This is to serve the last 2 years of what would have been Pamela Price's um,
Term. Yeah.
term was extended to 6 years with along with our sheriff. So this is for 2 years. So 2/3 of the vote for Ursula Jones Dixon, our appointed DA, over Pamela Price. At it was a roughly around in the what 23%. I mean, I guess right now we could say that Ursula Jones Dixon is outperforming the recall because the recall had 63%
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Pamela Price.
And this is
This is pretty
not
expected.
it's not a November election, this is it.
Yeah, it's not. So yeah, Ursula Jones Dixon needs
Mm, 50
50% to
plus
avoid the
plus 50.
runoff,
Correct.
and that is,
Yeah,
I mean, I would call this a. I mean, if we had graphics, it would pop up that the winner,
yeah.
like she's,
I mean,
it's done.
I'm still shocked that Pamela Price had the opportunity to run in this election even though she was recalled. I didn't know people could do that.
I know, I know. I will tell everybody right now. Here's my prediction. I really think she's going to run for mayor of Oakland. I do, and I'll tell you why later because I can't be giving away.
This November, she's gonna run for mayor of
Yeah,
Oakland, you think? Oh,
I think,
wow.
or
Oh,
something else. I think
okay.
so. I think
Okay.
it's, I think I don't know, I'll be very vague here, but I think it's to say it'll be the same reason why she ran for DA,
Okay.
you know? But
Okay.
I think
She's
it's
gotta
gonna be
be running.
something.
Pamela Price needs something to do, which is she needs to run for something.
I mean, we got people are watching us, I'll put it that way. Not
Yeah.
me, not you, but also the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, Lisa Marquez and Lena Tam are also in the same position. They have runoffs and they will avoid, I will assure you, based on these results, that they will avoid a runoff. So those three, that is where the victory party, you want to hang out there because it's old school where you can actually celebrate something. Like they've won. They've won.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I could tell you
yeah. Yeah, Ursula Jones Dixon is over at Mad Oak right now, so
the
sure they're having quite a party over there.
the the big surprise now is in your neck of the woods. Oakland's Measure E parcel tax is there. Now this is the one
The
I would say,
result
hold on,
whoa,
everybody.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Don't get
whoa. We're not we're not doing this again. I can't do this again. The results are encouraging, and there is still more than 50% of the vote left to count. Measure E is, it's, 44 to 55, so it's about 9 percentage points away, and it's, 3,300 votes apart, with the majority voting no on Measure E, as they should.
yeah. I
So, it's interesting. It's encouraging at best right now.
yeah, I would hold on. I would not get too excited yet. I would be
Yeah.
very, I
I
mean,
agree. I completely agree with you.
that victory part, that the no party,
Yeah.
they should be like, they should be dancing. They should be knocking down
There's
some drinks, celebrating, but
there's a yes on Measure E party going on tonight. Yeah, I wonder what the vibe in that room is like right now.
I mean, if this, let's just say this, I mean, this is a good chance this holds, but I would say within what, 9% early on, especially in Oakland, that I
Yeah.
would hold off a little bit.
Yeah,
But
because
if
late vote is, in Oakland, very, very progressive,
you
and
know about that,
I do know about that. I do know about that. Multiple election cycles now. But I think what is really interesting is the block of organizations that came out against Measure E, East Bay Times, San Francisco Chronicle, not to mention like League of Women Voters, the NAACP Oakland. And when I think about progressive, just progressive voters or even like late voters who live in the flatlands, like that moves the needle. The fact that, like, this is a primary election. People aren't paying that close of attention. I had several texts today asking me who they should vote from friends, who they should vote for governor and what I think of Steyer and Becerra. So, like, these are people who probably as they're walking to the poll, the poll, the voting center today, they were Googling, like, what, whatever source they normally visit was saying about Measure E. So I'm it's
y-
encouraging, but we got vote left to count.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of things that this was holds. The big one is where's Oakland gonna find $30,000,000? And second is, I think for the big the probably we'll talk about this on the next
Yeah,
podcast later in the week, but,
yeah,
like, what does this mean? Like, this is the city that loves this kinda stuff. They were like, "Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes," for decades, and
yeah.
now they've suddenly said,
Wait,
"No."
I
What
think
does this
what's
mean?
I'm looking at the event for Yes on Measure E celebration, and I see and guys
Well, you
can't see
wanna
my
go there?
screen, but I see this, like, giant list of people that are like, "Thank you so much for all the effort, Measure E," like, for putting effort towards Measure E, and it's oh my
That's a
gosh,
who's who.
it's a who's who of, like, wow, that's gonna it's gonna be a pretty big blow.
I mean,
Pretty big oh, it's a good
this was a
swing.
labor-backed measure, so,
Yeah.
that's also something to think of what comes next, but,
We
you know,
appreciate
it
the hours you took to talk to our neighbors and coworkers about the importance of Measure our broad coalition of elected officials. Among them, I just won't go into the list, but OUSD board members are listed: Stonewall, Democratic Club, Wellstone, Oakland Chamber of Commerce, Oakland Rising Action, eBay, Faith in Action East Bay, Oakland Tenants Union, Alameda Labor Council. It's there's a lot. There are a lot on here.
yeah,
Yeah.
I should add, please, everybody on there, please, if you have a question for us, send it. Dave
Throw it
Canny, that
out.
one.
Yeah.
Can you comment on what Oakland needs to do to fix its finances without Measure E money? I
You
mean,
have to first
another
prove that you're using your money well, right?
no, I
Like
think what the answer is gonna be, put another ballot measure in November.
exactly.
Seriously.
That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna try this again in November. Um,
Yeah.
no, but to answer that seriously, what does Oakland need to do to fix their finances? First, like, if you are trying to pass parcel taxes in order to cover a deficit, you have to realize that you are spending more than the money that you are bringing in. So you have to figure out why you're having to pass these parcel taxes. The other thing is you have to show the public, I read my property tax bill, there's a tax on there for maintaining the medians. And I'm like, I don't see any of my medians maintained. So you have to demonstrate to people that like these funds that we're passing year after year, which makes up 18% of the city budget yearly, it's $150 million that are voter approved funds, that you are actually delivering services and people are getting more as a result of it, not just sort of being eaten up and all the things that could happen in City Hall. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we
They're
in the
going to
last
attempt a Measure F, and will it be called F? That'd be funny.
well, I mean, this is a big story if this holds, over and I think a lot of it, on the current podcast that Lee Thomas was talking about, I mean, Lee Thomas and Rocky Fernandez, on the last podcast, they thought this was going down. I was holding back because I just can't I agree that it would be in trouble, but I just could not fathom 50% plus 1 saying no to this just because the bar is lower. But it also but Lee Thomas was talking on the podcast that it's just about this is what's going on with the finances, everybody's finances. They're hitting at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and everywhere else, and that's what's going on here. And I should notice the other ballot measure in Castro Valley, the school board's, uh,
Mhm.
$212 million school bond is right now losing at
Wow.
47%. It needs 55. So that could be related. That's a similar idea of, uh, what's going on in Oakland. And I will say there was opposition over in Castro Valley that I thought was a little bit similar to the no on E in Oakland, where they were going on social media and then questioning all these things that this school bond was going to pay for in Castro Valley and whether this is a good idea. Do you think it's a good idea? So it got a conversation on the negative side, which may be why we're seeing that one, um, measure B in Castro Valley failing and similar to measure measure E. Uh,
Yeah, I think there's a huge conversation around these measures and, like, I do wonder, like, how much, like, Donald Trump being in office. And, I read something today about how he wants to cover statues in gold and he's borrowing several, tens of millions of dollars from the national parks budget in order to do so. And when people are reading stuff like that, right, their overall discontentment with government asking for more money when it really hasn't demonstrated that they're giving us something for it. So I wonder how much of that national conversation is like trickling down into
Yeah.
just like what are very common sense, probably, measures supporting schools or supporting Peralta College. Peralta College one is look strong.
Yeah. That one is at, here's the measures.
Covering statues in gold.
Eighty eighty three percent over
Yeah,
at the Peralta,
yeah.
Community College District. I live in Alameda on the west end, and this is conspiracy talk right now, but I live on the and I go past Alameda College all the time, and I just don't think it's for anybody going to school. I never see a backpack.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the backpacks, man?
Well, the
It's kinda like,
enrollment the
I went to
enrollment's
church.
down. The enrollment's
I
down.
I went to church at the, on Sunday, the Cathedral of Light, and I was like, I think this is a secretly nuclear reactor, and it uses Lake Merritt to cool it down. Have you heard that conspiracy? I mean, I was inside, so maybe it's not, but I'm just saying conspiracies. But let's
Yeah,
go. I'll get
yeah.
good.
Any other questions? Does anyone have any
Yeah, is there any
questions
other
about
questions? Jason Overman, who was on our
Yeah,
podcast, and we need to get him back
he's
on.
commenting. Oh, yeah,
He
wait. How is Spencer Pratt doing? Not germane to this conversation, no surprise, but Spencer Pratt is beating Nithya Raman in LA. But the question is, it's the top 2 that move on, so it would be
Yeah,
Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt that face off in the November election, which, oh my gosh, we might actually end up with Spencer Pratt as LA mayor.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wanna, and I'll bring it we'll come back and because I'm actually looking at my screens here trying to see the
Mhm.
governor's race, because as we said, we talked a lot about the governor's race on the podcast. Usually, it's not we wouldn't, but Eric Swalwell was in the race, and so we kind of gravitated to it more and kind of kept it going on here. I'm
Yeah.
looking here at CNN where Steve Hilton's at 26, Sarah's at 25, Steyer's at
Trailing
19,
behind. Yeah.
Bianco's at 11, and yeah, that
Okay.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's starting
mean,
to more stuff's coming in here. That's starting to look like a Becerra Hilton, situation, which
yeah,
means
and more importantly, it's gonna be it's gonna be Steve Hilton and Becerra.
with, people who are, like, maybe not into politics too much, but they kinda know what's up and maybe they're conservative. Do you know any people like that? Maybe you don't, but I do. And I say,
We used to
"Listen, if you"
have we used to have one boyfriend in the group that was conservative, and he's no longer in the group.
When I hang out with my conservative people, sometimes,
They're
but,
not together
but
anymore.
But I was telling them, like, if the Republican is with a Democrat for governor in November, there's no way that Steve Hilton or any Republican can win. And they're like going at me like, "How you know that? How you know?" As if it's an opinion. It's not. It's just I was like physically like numbers. It's not possible unless the other guy like died. That's the only way. It's hard to get through. Like, no, I'm just not. I'm not saying the regulars, you know, uh, partisan stuff to you. This is the facts, Jack. Anyway, let's go back to the Aisha Wahab. That's race where so she's up by this is kind of what I was predicting and thinking that what we'd be talking about is a Wahab at first, but it was really about how big the lead's going to be between first and second. And I thought, when I wrote, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I wrote that I thought somewhere within 10 and below, a spread between 10 and below with Wahab on top and whoever's second would be meant we had a race. The higher it gets is where it becomes problematic for that second. That's where early on though, but this is the conservative batch of ballots. That's favoring Wahab by 20 points almost. Then it gets in the situation where if we were to hold in this situation, I would say that I think whoever's funding a second place person, like if it was Melissa Hernandez getting the APAC money and those groups, the old Swalwell coalition, they're going to probably say this is not good money, and they're going to ditch her. They're going to ditch her, or they're going to ditch whoever's if there's another Democrat. That's what's going on here. What I'm surprised, and again, to talk about the current podcast is Rocky Fernandez was on from the Democratic Party, and he kept bringing up that there could be an R. He doesn't know. Maybe they're going to be with Wahab a D, maybe an R, and that is a quite a possibility right now. Wendy Wang is sitting about what 1% or so behind Melissa
Mhm.
Hernandez, and then the
Right.
Republicans at 13, a couple percentage points.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a lot here to go, but as we said, if these are conservative, you would think that Wang and Maldonado's numbers will go start going down slowly. Um, and the other thing that I thought privately, I was telling people is I had this feeling that Rocky is Ronnie. She's a newcomer. She newcomer to politics and to Democratic Party
Yeah.
registration. Uh,
Mhm.
that I had this gut feeling that this was going to be an embarrassment in the making. And right now she's at 10%, about a little bit under 6% off the pace for second. I don't know,
She spent a lot of money.
spent a lot of money, and then, well, one of the hints when you watch the money and you see she spends $2,000,000, she adds in another 200,000, like, the 2 days before the election, 3 days before, that's a
Oof.
hint that there's a problem out there here. I'm trying to look at one of her I got this big so if you live in, like, Central County, which was really the hub of this election, this is what you get if you live in Hayward.
Oh,
This was
wow.
all the mailers you get in
How
Hayward.
did you get all this mail?
Well, I got my mom lives in Hayward, so she knows for years
Oh,
that
so
she saves it all.
she saves all the mail. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cute. I love
yeah,
that. I love that.
that's the, here,
Wait,
I have some
I keep all of the Oakland mailers. I love it.
there were so many of these, and
God,
if if she does not
these mail consultants just keep hard to quit, even though everything's digital now. And you
get
gotta
this
push digital ads, guys.
get I mean, these are all, like, boring. If she loses it because these were boring. They look nice.
Oh,
They're all boring.
Victor Flores, y'all should do a tier review of the mailers. I like this idea. I like this
Victor Flores,
idea.
he was on
I
he was on, East Bay Insiders TV once. He was great. Uh, that's a good I have
That's a good one. There weren't that many interesting I mean, besides probably that race, the Sakakara, Rocky Girani, Melissa Hernandez race.
yeah, that
There were
was,
mailers. I don't remember there being bunch of mailers this cycle.
there was this one where Rocky I don't know if you could see it.
Oh,
Rocky is
no.
Ronnie one, where
Rocky.
she tried to put
Oh,
in everybody can
no.
see that where it's Mike
Yeah.
Johnson, Trump,
Yeah.
and then Aisha Wahab. And my problem with this was, like, if you wanna go negative, go all the way negative.
I
Don't put Aisha Wahab behind there.
I wouldn't even know that that's Ayush Wahab.
Put
Like,
th
no
Yeah,
one
that's what
would
I'm
know.
saying.
Yeah.
Put Aisha Wahab here, Mike
Yeah.
Johnson here, and Trump. Like, go all the way out. Go you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I get
this one
I got this one because 'cause I'm a renter in Oakland, and so it's, Oakland renter alerts. Corporate landlords and special interests want your services cut, and I nearly spit out what I was reading because it was just basically like, landlords are bad, and they want you to vote no on Measure E.
Yeah. There there was also these that were well, Aisha Wahab from the Working Families Party, and I actually think they were very good. I like the colors. I like the pastels. Well, that's what she meant.
Ooh.
I
Wait,
like the
that's
pastel,
pretty. I really love that one.
and, you know, this one so I think if the
People
idea
gotta apply this ingenuity towards digital ads, guys. You gotta run the 6 second, 15 second, 30 second, 60 second digital ads on YouTube. Every time you open up the YouTube app or Instagram or Facebook, your ad plays. That is where people are. That is where the
Yeah.
attention economy is, everyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to find since we're on mailers.
I love it. Wait, please save those mailers.
The tough ones were in the Senate district.
Oh
This one
no.
was a total lie. If you see this one, can you see this one? Total lie.
Ian Kepner
Uh,
voted yes.
Another one, she's like, Better Call Saul. What's the name? What's the dude? Sweet James. Sweet James.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, those were the nasty ones. This one here, but I do think we're gonna have to. You are an Indian American,
I
right?
am. I am.
Because
And
we need to have
Rocky is Ronnie is Indian American. Yes. Yes.
we're gonna have next podcast. We're gonna have to talk about it because this is continuing. If this holds on here, this is
Yeah.
another Indian American candidate who seems to be has money, smart, should do better, but somehow they're just screwing up every time. It's basically
Well,
like Fremont Mayor Raj Salwan is the only one that breaks through. Like,
you just
there's the problem. Here's the problem. This is a growing important group of our county,
it
and they
is.
need to have representatives
There's something
that speak
over
for them.
there's something over in the water in like Tri Valley. It's Tri Valley, right? That's what they
Tri
say.
Valley, there's some over there,
There's
but
something over there where I don't think the political consultants are really giving these Indian American candidates some hard truths and some tough talking to. And
yeah,
yeah, you can't waste your money like this. You,
yeah.
you
I mean,
gotta you
it's a
gotta
problem.
you gotta mount stronger campaigns from the beginning. This is not it's not rocket science at all. And I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, but there's a couple ways that like get you closer.
Yeah, the somebody likes your print behind you. That is cool.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's an Indian folk artist, and this man usually only paints Shivas, and Shiva is a man, and he's like the god that's in blue. And I went to him and I was like, "Can you paint me a Lakshmi?" And he was like, "Oh, but I've never done that." And I was like, "You got it. You got this." And he did it.
nobody said anything about my background. I got Pete Stark, Ellen Corbett, and Ron Dellums, and then Tony Santos,
I love it.
the old mayor of and I voted twice, as you could see here. I got a thing out there. So I vote twice. But
Yeah, yeah.
I think
But
so in that congressional
no more
race.
bashing on Indian Americans. We have some Indian Americans in Congress now, or like in elected office. We got Roe. We got Johnny in Oakland. She's doing great. We can win.
Y- Yeah, but it's too many times it's like falling flat. And my thing is from the
In
beginnings when I
campaigns.
started
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
when you got the numbers,
Yep.
that needs to translate into numbers on a city council or wherever they're representing because it's just going to make everything better because I mean I asked you when it's a I know Portuguese people. I know a certain person. I know a Brian Azevedo. I know that kind of person. I knew a lot of stuff that you wouldn't know because culturally I kind of like the same background. And I asked you stuff about Indian candidates or whatever because I'm trying to get because you have a certain thing like if you ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I know that. I know, yeah, those people. I know that kind of Portuguese one. They got a diesel Mercedes back in the '80s. They thought they were better than everybody else, and so little things like that. And you have
I
the
need
real
it.
fine point
Yeah.
on that culture that I think you have I'm trying to tap into that you could help me understand. But
Yeah. I need
um
to show you videos of this Indian American candidate that ran for governor. It was really good. I gotta just send you the video.
trying to
Yeah.
actually Let me look here if we got any updates. We don't have any updates yet.
No election updates,
Um,
right?
we'll
Okay.
see. So we
Well,
should also talk about here. This is the first election since I don't know 2014, so like 12 years, where we have a registrar named not named Tim Dupuy. So he
oh,
retired in March. So
so
I mean,
exciting.
Cynthia Cornejo was
Yeah,
the number two for a long time, and
yeah.
I don't know if they've named her full time, but this is her election, and I was optimistic that she was going to do far better than Tim Dupuy, our illustrious. And so far, so good. She said these
I
first
I
batch were
hope
going to
she
come
gets
early.
the job. I hope she gets a job at registrar. I know they have
I
that
mean, why
search up,
not?
but I'm sure her name is in the mix, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good, but that's something to watch. I mean, I was never a fan of Dupuy. It's just like a lot of these things. I'm not the Johnny come lately. Disliking Swalwell, disliking ranked choice voting, disliking Dupuy. That's been my thing for like 10 years. So I think I'm cautiously optimistic that we can will all the crazy stuff will cease, and we just have a votes
Yeah,
counted, and it comes
yeah,
out quickly, as quickly as
yeah,
they can, and so
yeah,
we'll see. So that's something to watch out for.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
the other races,
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm really just looking forward to seeing the results for Measure E because, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, I find it really symptomatic of like kind of like a referendum again on like, we
yeah,
had the recall of Shang in 2024, which is like a referendum for the voters to express their discontentment toward the mayor. We had the special election in 2025. Barbara Lee won. But that is not as big of a landslide that we thought. And then this is a referendum on, I think, like whether voters are like, yeah, like you're doing a great job, that we're gonna give you more money. And um yeah, it's just there's so many pieces to it where I'm like, what will they do if they lose? Um, so it's an interesting story to potentially play out, and yeah,
yeah,
looking forward to seeing the results.
yeah. I don't know. Let's start from the very beginning. Like why I was always skeptical about this was, I mean, usually you re a revenue measure is a reaction to a problem. Now,
Yeah,
granted, there has been problems here, but
yeah,
with the finances in Oakland, but they were like, "Yeah,
yeah,
we need 35 million. Okay, let's create a ballot measure that creates
yeah,
that
yeah,
number," and they actually
yeah,
went down back in, I don't know, that's last year.
yeah,
They had a meeting where they went down each kind of measure. "Oh, the utility tax, that won't get enough." And then they just like, so they were trying to fit this in, and
yeah,
it just kinda
yeah,
made people
and
knew that even more.
I think they baked in the revenue for Measure E into the current June, July budget. I'm pretty sure they
Yeah,
did.
I don't
I re
recall. Yeah.
I think, there's a recent press conference, a reporter asked, and I think they might have. So, you'd have
Yeah.
to take that
I
out.
I would like to know when that, like, the realtors and the real estate people in Oakland, what was the scene
Jason's
when
saying it's not the case. Registered Jason.
they were, no, now I lost lost my train of thought. I
Sorry.
wanna know when was the point? What was the scene when the opposition, and the realtors, the national realtors and the state, groups and the local, real estate interests, they got, I'm assuming they got polling and they all went, "What? There's some softening
I
here. Let's
so
go at
I
it," because it
think
came late.
been really interesting about the realtors is they've actually opposed they've opposed a lot of these, like, measures. I think there's some they have supported and they've stayed out of. And I truly I can't there's been too many measures over the last, like, 4 years. Like it feels like every summer, every November, right? But I remember like the realtors like started opposed like a property tax measure like a couple years ago, and they got a lot of flack for it. They got a lot of flack from like Oakland Chamber of Commerce, et cetera, other groups. And I think the realtors like outlook, right, is like their membership is realtors. They want to sell homes. They want home sales to happen and they want home sales to go up in a particular city. So that's what they're like, let's just not lie about what they're motivated by. And so their sort of you know, public research has shown that these are like bad for those purposes. And so that on that basis, they've opposed certain property tax measures because they don't see it being beneficial to the overall like growth of home sales. Um, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
This might be the first one that they've opposed, and it might actually win.
I think a couple podcasts ago you coined what was it? The Oakland or you coined the phrase or you said, "Is Oakland heading into the quality life era?" Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, the
That was
quality
your
of life era.
that's what it is here. Uh, Switch gears, we can come back here if and again, anybody has some
Ask us
questions, fire
questions.
away.
There's
Throw it.
77 people on, like,
Yeah. Even ask if where I get my hair
yeah.
cut. Who don't care? But so in the state senate race, the very competitive race there to replace Aisha Wahab, and that district is from Hayward all the way down to Sunnyvale, city of Santa Clara. It's huge, almost a million. All state senate districts are about a million. It's huge, but now we have district wide numbers from the Secretary of State's office. So, first is the Democrat Scott Sakikihara with
Mhm.
28.3%. He's a Union City, first term Union City council member. Second is the Republican Linda Price from Santa Clara County at 26%, 2% off the pace for the first and the second. Then here's the problem for everybody else. There's a big drop off. It's down to second at 15%. 14.9% is David Cohen, who's a San Jose council member, and that North San Jose is like the southernmost one of the southernmost parts of the district. And Ann Kepner, who's also was thought to be labor was backing her, thought to be one of the main uh, contenders here, is at 12% district wide. Raymond Carmen Montano, who is a Milpitas mayor, is at 9.7%, and Raymond Liu, is a Fremont council member, is at 8.9%. I was writing that, and it still could happen, that all six of these people could get in the double digits. That's still within the realm of possibility, but I am surprised because I had heard people in my ears were saying Scott Sakakihara, who's not known hardly in this county, or Union City is totally unknown in Santa Clara County, and they thought they were hearing, I don't know if they saw polling, that he was not gonna do well in Santa Clara County, and that is not the case. He is doing well. I This looks like he's gonna be the state senator to replace Aisha Wahab. This is, bit surprising, but, Ann Kempner, she also was in a race similar to this in 2020 for the 25th Assembly District. That's where Assemblymember Alex Lee represents now. She was in a race like this where there was a bunch of candidates all kind of even, and there was one Republican, and the Republican won the primary with 20%. Alex Lee finished second, got in the top two with 15%. And of course, like what will happen here if it's Saka Kihara and Linda Price, um, Alex Lee won like 70 to 30 in November. And that's what would happen here. This Linda Price lady, we don't even know if she's alive. We think she's 80 years old. She had done nothing. Like anybody could have anybody could have got in this race as an R as
Oh my
long as there's
gosh.
one and got this.
Wow.
This is a total war. If you watch baseball, this is a zero war. Wins of what's that called? I don't know. You don't know what I'm talking about. But this is a little bit, this is one of the races I had no idea, I'm telling you. I had no idea what was gonna go on
Linda
here.
Price. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you can just show up, put your name in, and you advance over millions were spent
It's
for Ann Kepner.
incredible how much
Millions.
just showing up. You just
Scott
show up.
Sakakihara took his stock money from Palantir, put $1 million into his campaign,
I
and
was
it looks like
wondering I was wondering when we were gonna get to that.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be one of the things we talk about because I
Yeah,
don't know if I have the paper mailer, but only very late in the last week or so did they start hitting them on ice. And I was like, "What is anybody doing?" Like,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
had all these nice mailers. He just so many mailers, and he's
yeah,
a great story, nice family, right? He's got Filipino wife, like I will soon,
yeah,
so I know that he's taken care of.
yeah. Looks like we have
She's over
some
there listening.
new looks like we have some new results that have dropped. There
All right,
was an update
let's go
recently.
here, and, we got 78
Yeah.
people here. Thank you so much, everybody,
Measure E
for
just
listening.
flipped. Thanks, Jason, for the heads up.
So did should not have been celebrating, huh?
I was not celebrating. I said the results were encouraging. There's no celebrating happening.
They're like, "All right, let's go here. Let's go here." I'm bringing this
Anything
up here as
else
we
shifted?
so everything, maybe they made a call. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Somebody else does that. That is that is quite a flip. That is actually like no, that isn't a flip.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
it's quite a flip. Yeah. So it's really, I mean, did the other measures shift? Piedmont is still winning. Hayward still winning. City of Oakland measure C still winning.
Are you,
Measure D. Yeah, it was
hold on, what
oh sorry, no. Measure E. Oh,
yeah.
they oh no. Okay, no is first. My bad.
Yeah, no, no, no. I was
18,648 votes. Oh, I was
yeah,
just
that's
reading
why,
wrong. I was reading yes and then no first.
yeah, that's
I'm
why
I was like, "Huh?"
I kept refreshing, like, "Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing?" So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's holding a little bit,
It's
still
holding.
early.
Yeah.
Um, it's but you can see, I mean, I think what we're gonna see is you're starting to see it, and you see this often in when
Oh,
these updates that
they order
one
it.
per
Yeah, they order it as the one that's winning
yeah,
on top. Got it.
but you usually see if you're gonna see change, in my experience over the years, when you're tracking it, if you're gonna see change, it's typically around, with each update 1% if it's gonna and
Yeah.
I think that's we saw here, so that's something to see. If you start seeing multiple, updates where it's gaining like 1% at a time, and when I track this, you rarely see at least at the intervals under Dupuy when he was the registrar, you rarely see anything above like a 2% change either way, up or down, for any of the candidates, but I if you do I mean, but you can get to that, and that's a good sign, but that's usually the range. 1 1 to 2 if you're starting to see movement, whether either way, you know? So, we're kinda seeing that with that Oakland race right now, so that's why I was like, kinda hold off on that one a little bit because that's a little bit
And like
close.
we've
Could be a
seen
nail
this.
biter.
We've seen this in Oakland. We've seen it where results can flip. I mean, they flipped in several races between election night and the Friday. It's always the Friday toward the end of this first week, right? Where you do see a flip that happens. And it's happened with, as much as say like even if a measure or some other candidate is in the lead by 3 or 4,000 votes as of election night, it could flip.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and we're seeing and so, actually, before I mean, you should tell the audience you have you are an expert. You don't maybe I'm not talking you are an expert of what you just said because
Yeah.
you were the you were helped run Lauren Taylor's campaign
Yeah,
twice, and
yeah, yeah.
especially the 2nd time.
I'll describe both of those election weeks. So November 2022, um, yeah, Lauren was in the lead against Shang election night. We felt good about the election. Like I just want to I think it's also like worth noting like how you feel going into it, right? And we felt good. We never thought that we were going to win against Shang. That was not true. But we felt really good those last 2 weeks where we looked at each other and we were like there's a chance that we could win this thing. And and that's how the team like generally felt. And so we knew that it was going to be close. I think the election night results were very promising. And even the 2 days after that, like the first two drops were also like good and there was the lead was holding. Where we started to understand that like she could close that lead like was basically up to the last day of the vote count.
Mm,
So he still kept a narrow lead, but his lead kept shrinking. And when we were looking at sort of the returns coming back from various precincts, right, we understood that that late vote was skewing much more progressive. And so he ended up losing by now we know um it was 647 votes, something like that. Um, in the very last vote count day, and then even then, the results had changed because of the algorithm error that cycle. And and then in uh, just last year, April 2025, Lauren was 20 points behind Barbara Lee as of February 2025. We thought, listen, there's like it's a very, very small chance that he could win, right? But we were gonna try as hard as possible to put him over the finish line. I think what I wanted to do and was win with our voters and drive up that vote as much as possible in the precincts that were going to come out and vote strongly for Lauren, right? And and I think that showed. I think that showed on election night. Like he won in, uh above 580 in the districts that he won against Shang, with like 70-30 returns. And he lost in the days after where she took the lead in Flatlands. They're both, Black candidates. She has considerably higher name recognition, 98%. And I think the vote ended up being like she was 4,500 votes ahead. Yeah.
and
So
you
that was not surprising because it was there was only 2 things on the ballot, and it was a special election, and it was a mayor's race, and it was another property tax measure. Surprise, surprise. Measure I think it was Measure U or NN, whatever it was.
yeah.
And, yeah, it was people it happens, you know?
Yeah, let me ask you this, 'cause and then, just real quick, and then we'll get back to some of these other updates. But I was thinking of this early at 7:50, 10 minutes before the polls close and waiting, um, for the results. You've never been a candidate, but you've been close in these tight races. How
Yeah.
could you describe, uh, 'cause I'm with the I'm covering this for, like, 6 months, these and I've seen these
Yeah.
people, and then I get
Yeah.
nervous. I'm,
Yeah.
like, nervous, like,
Yeah.
how did you feel? Like,
Oh my
must be
god.
terrible.
So terrible. Like the week after, like election nights for me have been like truly joyous moments, right? Like cuz I it's a celebration of everything that you have worked for. So I think for the most part, like election nights for a lot of people are like for the team, for the candidate, for the family, for everyone who's like supporting them, it's just such it's a moment of exhale when the clock hits 7 p.m. and the polls are closed and you know that you've left everything out in the field, right? And so I'm so grateful that those 2 election nights in Oakland that I've been a part of have been so incredibly positive. And I think it was so positive to know that like we're not even supposed to do that well. We're not supposed to post, we're not supposed to be ahead of Shang. We're not supposed to be ahead of Barbara Lee. And so it has been such a high to live that in that moment. But knowing that it was a very long week of vote count and like the rest of the week, like my stomach is like a pit. I'm not eating. I'm having my intern, shout out to Ben, to Ben, and I'm having him crunch all of these different scenarios on numbers on which way, like how much could we lose by here, by a hair here, and a pinch there, and like could we still pull it off? Are we gonna lose? Blah blah blah. There's all these different scenarios that like we're just like crunching. And like there's no use on doing it. You should just wait for the results. But I think every time, I think thankfully, like I've never been blindsided because I'm not really like a I'm like I'm unfortunately a glass half empty person. And like I'm like a try hard, right? So like I'm not the one that thinks that I'm gonna win until I actually do. It's just who I am.
So, we're gonna have an intern coming on, like, this week or next week, so you're not gonna make her get you food. She's too good for that.
No, but I will make her crunch numbers
Oh, okay.
if there are
That is
numbers
what
to
she's
be
gonna do.
crunching. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
She's not
Eh
gonna be
eh
crunching numbers. She's gonna be helping us with some digital stuff.
yes, and she has no idea her number crunching likely, I believe, is gonna mean, another politician's gonna be out of, office. There you go, everybody, little sneak peek of the next couple months. But,
Yeah.
one of our, viewers, Ted, I'm always curious as to why the final results take so long to certify. Is there a reason for the delay? One of the reasons is they can't, like, start counting until 8 PM. So they kinda, like, set it up, how by when the ballots come in. So that's why we're talking about how they tend to be Republicans, conservatives, independents, I guess you could put in there. They
Mhm.
tend to vote quick, early. And so that's why the early batch would kinda skew to, um, a conservative kinda candidate, perceived at least for here, which is why what Trishala was saying that conversely, the laggards are or progressives, and they were not a Lauren Taylor fan by and large, so that's why the late comeback for Barbara Lee in that special election last year. But it takes a while,
I,
this is
I I really hate saying this, but like I think like information is not like late voters tend to be voters that are lower information voters. And like take that however you want to like interpret that, right? But like that's what ends up happening. And so these are people who like may not rely on traditional sources of media. They may just rely on like name ID. And so that's an important point to be thinking about. Like late voters like rely on what they may know because they're voting pretty last minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
But part of this question is this is was the debate with the registrar that we've had, and the criticism is why was he taking so long? And he had this, he really liked to make excuses. I'll just be honest with you. He make excuses to why it would take so long. They have 30 days, but the old registrar's,
Well,
stance was he gets 30 days, he's gonna damn take 30 days.
yeah.
But he's
And
not that's
and
why we were always the last
actually,
ones.
my understanding for why it takes so long, theoretically, why it's supposed to take 30 days between like the election being over, votes being counted, then certifying, is you want to cure ballots. Like you want to like people who forgot to sign their signature, right? Like there's all these different processes that are happening in the background where like there's provisional ballots that come in from like armed, our armed forces. There are ballots that are missing signature that they're supposed to like reach out to via I think like email or mail and try to like cure. There's also opportunities for campaigns to actually contest and say, hey, like we'd like to look at like the ballots that are, don't have missing signatures because this race like is kind of close, and we'd like to like take a look at all of those and try to cure those. So that's what that 30 days is like it's supposed to give enough time to do. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Seth is asking, might that be different this election with people sitting on ballots to see how the governor's race polling would shake out? I don't know because
Yeah.
we were on yesterday. We were at ballots received in Alameda County was like 17%, I believe. And 4 years ago, a non presidential primary like this one, we were only like 1% off the pace. So I don't know if it has anything will have anything to do. We're kind of like at that a similar primary 4 years ago. Uh, so I don't know. It could be, but I'll
Yeah.
just to give you
Yeah.
those some of those numbers that were like 1% off. We were 1% behind the pace of 2022, and that I wrote it. It was like 35% at
Yeah.
the end of the day, and
I
that's I
think
think what we're probably going to have this time.
I think it's interesting because I think people are motivated to vote because of who's in office in the White House right now. But then people were also waiting to vote because they wanted to see how the governor's race shook out. I certainly was. I was going to wait until the last minute to see whether it was Becerra or Steyer, right, before making a choice between the top two
Mm.
Democrats. But I also didn't want to ignore Seth's earlier question. I think he just missed it when I said this, but he asked, Trishal, why do you oppose Measure E? We have one of the highest like tax rates in Oakland. I said this earlier. I think when you're like proposing a new property tax like every year and you're saying like we need this to like save services, right? I think the question becomes like how are you as the city of Oakland spending more than you are bringing in terms of revenue that you're going to the voter, you're going specifically to property owners every year and to the voters to ask for more property taxes. That means that there's something that's happening where there's like incongruent spending. And I'm not actually convinced that like more money in the city of Oakland will actually produce an increase in services. They're saying like we need it to like maintain existing services. And that doesn't
Yeah.
feel great to me.
Yeah, I mean, if Measure E loses, I think this is going forward easy fix at City Hall and whoever's pushing them forward is just to talk about what you're saying because it's growing more and more.
Yeah.
The fact that Oakland voters pay so much in extra in
Yeah.
taxes is
One
something
of the
that's known for a long
highest
time,
tax
but now
rates,
it's
like
really known.
top 5 highest, like, like, property tax rates in the state, like, it's something like that, and, like,
Yeah.
I think I was reading this on Reddit or something, like, like, someone was commenting about, like, they were like, "No one seems to wanna do the work." And it's like, I think that's true. I think it's easier to ask voters to increase their property taxes to cover a $40 million deficit, just like we increased the sales tax last year to cover a $40 million deficit. If you have a running deficit of $40 million, like how much are you going to tax? Like, and I think if you look at the Oakland Economic Report, which is online somewhere on the Oakland Chamber of Commerce's website, the sales tax measure that we passed last year, increasing our sales tax from like 8.5% to 10%, something insane, it actually has brought down our overall gross receipts across the city. So we're also not talking about the effect that these taxes have, whether it's a sales tax or whether it's a property tax. Like let's actually talk about like what has it produced? Like, how many affordable housing units have we built with Measure U? How many parks and libraries have we maintained or done repairs on as a result of the property tax that we passed for that? Like, how many miles of road have we paved? Our government isn't talking about that.
Yeah, let's switch gears back to the courthouse. Uh, Ursula Jones Dixon, 65%. Pamela Price is at 23, and Gopal Krishan is at 11. What are your thoughts on? I mean, I give Pamela Price credit. She got huevos grandes like nothing you ever seen, and you
I'm
got to give her credit for
I'm
that.
actually like quite I'm so impressed by her actually. Like,
Yeah, I
after
mean,
all of it, like, wouldn't you be tired? Like, I haven't heard a peep out of Eric Swalwell, like, Eric Swalwell and Pamela Price are not the same
disappeared.
person, but, after going through a recall, like, to come back and say, "I'm gonna mount a very serious campaign," like,
I mean, so what I was gonna
oh,
ask you is, what does
oh,
it say that you're gonna start your campaign committee for DA and have it say, "Reelect Pamela Price"? I mean, that is the most ballsy thing I've ever seen, and I kinda think it's not legal. I kinda think if you cared, you
yeah.
could challenge that. I mean, she's not elect it's not it's falsehood. You can't have a falsehood in your committee name.
There's a lot that is not allowed, like, we're not allowed to have our I mean, we're not allowed to use public resources in political ads, but for Measure E, I saw several different, fire trucks, and, like, there's a lot of things that are probably not allowed, and they don't get challenged in, like, the blur of a election cycle. There's too much
Yeah.
going on.
And we didn't talk about in the first go around here or the second go around, Superior Court judge. And so interesting here in the Office 19 with the Oakland City Attorney, Deputy City Attorney Celia Warren and
Mhm.
Patricia Miles. This one is surprising to me that it's close. It's 51-48 Warren. And I
Mm,
thought that Warren had all the right people, the party. She's known in Oakland. The labor seemed to be I think labor was coming out for her. She had all the right people. She's checking all the boxes,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this is a little bit close right now. She may hang on, but this is
yeah.
for judge. Do you
I
know
will
her?
say no, I don't know her, but I do know that she had all of she had a bunch of endorsements, and her name was definitely out there a little bit more that I noticed. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
a
I
tight one.
I wi I want to know more about our judges, and maybe for this yeah, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do more next time to know more
Well,
about those
that's
races.
what we talked about on the podcast, that they can't tell you anything because it's kind of a big joke.
Mm.
They're against by the judicial, laws or whatever,
They
they
can't
can't
tell you
really tell you.
where they stand
Yeah,
on things, right? Like, they can't
yeah,
really yeah,
and so it's kinda like,
interesting.
what do
But
we
we still
what
elect
so
them. Yeah,
what are we talking about? In the other race,
yeah.
Office 13, Michael
Um,
Johnson is up
yeah,
53 53 47 over Cabral Bonner.
yeah,
Michael Johnson ran 4 years ago and
yeah,
lost in
yeah,
this race, so,
yeah, yeah.
this one is, within the numbers, but
Yeah.
the
I will say I'm a little part of the same section is, county superintendent of schools. It's, Elise Castro. Um, I I mean, I knew how I was voting on a lot of things, but I looked much more closely at my ballot today, and I realized that Elise Castro was running unopposed. And I got really confused for a second because I thought that the reason why she's been holding back on like some of the steps or measures that she could take in like towards like, you know, holding OUSD school board accountable fiscally, right? She
yeah.
wasn't taking it because it was an election cycle. I didn't realize she's running unopposed. And now I'm just confused. Like, why?
Yeah,
Like, why is she holding back?
I know you would think there was this would have been one of the top places where you think there was an opening, right, for somebody? I don't know.
Running
Probably
unopposed for superintendent
maybe
of
it's
schools,
like
that's
nobody wants
crazy.
that job at all. But, uh, going through, another round here of,
Yeah. Also,
the
Steven, I gotta go because I gotta go to an election night party, possibly.
Oh, really? Well, I'll take it over from here. Anybody got any questions here? But, because we started hey, still the audience growing, I'll stay here as long as you talk. You
Can
talk
y'all talk
about
about
Tony
Tony
Thurmond.
Thurmond? Oh, Tony. Tony's so nice.
He resorted to F-bombs in his last commercial about Trump.
Oh, did
Not
he?
good. Not
Hey,
I don't
probably got
know.
some views.
I mean, I don't know why I don't know what's going on. I mean, I guess you're in it, like, just keep going, right? I don't know. You the money wasn't coming in.
Yeah.
It's the age-old mystery. We talked about it. Why do people run? But I mean, he's the superintendent, so it's a little different. But why do regular people run, like for Congress? Like, you know, I don't know. I've
Environment.
I just wonder did some of those people look on these results and go, "What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did I finish last?
Yeah.
I don't believe it." Although some go, "Oh my god." It's like that one kid you see that commercial, you're probably too young, but that
Yeah.
one PSA back in the day where the kid's playing baseball, he's on the baseball field, and he has a ball and a bat, and he throws the ball up, and he swings, and he misses, and he goes, "Strike 1." And then he does it again, and he misses, he goes, "Strike 2." He does it a 3rd time, and he misses a 3rd time, he goes, "Huh." And all of a sudden he realizes, I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. That's like these people. I think some of them are gonna look and go, "Yeah, I finished last, but you know what? 1,500 people out of 900,000 like me. I'm great." I think that's what maybe what how they take some of these results, but I don't know. You can do whatever you want, but it's not cheap to run, put your name on this ballot, so I don't know, but, if you gotta go, I'll finish this off and, we'll go through here, some of these. But Trish Chalavina go on the East Bay Insiders,
Hi, everyone.
podcast,
First
Apple.
election cycle that my stomach is not in a knot, and I'm just an observer. Thank God. Thank God.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
for coming on. We'll see you, people will hear from you later this week on the next edition, where we'll wrap up more of what we know on the East Bay Insiders podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. Also here on Substack, and, we're gonna have some good guests after the weeks after that. We already got it lined up because we're getting organized now. Getting organized, getting ready for our new intern who's gonna be amazing. Trishala Benicota, everybody. But let's go and let's just do one more quick round of whirlwind around the world here in the East Bay. Federal 14th Congressional District. That's the Swalwell seat. Aisha Wahab is now at 35%. As I was saying earlier, you might see with every update, like a 1% either up or down. And so she's lost 1%. But Melissa Hernandez did not. But Wendy Wang, the Democrat, in third, and the Republican Wendy Wang and the other Republican Dina Maldonado in third and fourth, they have gained. Rocky is Ronnie still at almost 11%. That's going to be terrible. That's embarrassing. Matt Ortega, who was on East Bay Insider or was here a month ago, he's at 1.92%. I'll tell you right now, you're going to see if he does it, you're going to be seeing more of him. He was a great analyst, so you'll be seeing more of him. Hopefully, we'll ask him if he'll come and look at some of these races. He did a great job. We'll go through in the 12th. Latifah Simon's first reelection attempt is looking pretty good. 80% right now. With Joe certainly be in the general against Jamie Joyce, who's at 20%. And there is a write-in candidate with 75 votes that people in Alameda know, named Steve Slauson. Yeah, he's a character. Uh, in the Dublin side, sliver of that area, in some of Castro Valley, the 10th congressional, Mark DeSaulnier is at surprisingly a little bit low. It's a big race, at 50% right now. In second place is Jeff Freeze, 14%, and Catherine Piccinini, who has been another in the previous races at 10%. That's a little bit low for DeSaulnier, even though there's several people in that race. Ro Khanna in the Southern House, Fremont, Silicon Valley, Ro Khanna's at 59% in just this county. That also is majority is in Santa Clara County. So we'll see who he's looking at right now later on. Over at the state, I think we could probably call some of these races for uh, November. In the 14th district, Buffy Wicks at 81%. She's the Democratic Assembly member. Right now, Mark Rendon, who I believe is a Green Party person, is in second at 10%. Um, and Borgar Solnadal is the Republican is at 7.6%. That could change, so we don't know who's going to be in that top two yet. Rebecca Bauer Kahan, Tri Valley 16th District Democratic Assembly members at 58%. Joe Ruby is at 38%. He definitely will be in November, and that will be a rematch of 2024, possibly 2022. I think if I recall. And in the 18th district, Mia Bonta, who's Oakland, Alameda, but Berkeley, 72%. Andre Sanford is at 11%. Ned Nergy, the Republicans at 10.9. That one's really close. Sanford and Bonta were in last year's, 2024's election, general November election. That could be happening again. In the 20th, which is a Hayward going on down, Liz Ortega, Democratic Assembly member, 70%. Patricia Muga is at 30. There's only two people, so that's who you'll see in November. And in the 24th, which is Fremont and Newark, I believe, on down to Silicon Valley, Alex Lee's at 61%, the Democratic incumbent assembly member, against Max Shia, 26%. What's interesting here in third place is Yang Xiao, a termed out Fremont council member at 11%. So he's not going to be making it to November, and that's too bad because that guy is quite a hoot. At the county level, again, we were talking about Ursula Jones Dixon will be the Alameda County District Attorney. Could drop the appointed tag for the next 2 years. She has to run in 2028, though, because this is just for 2 years. The last 2 years of what would have been Pamela Price's 6-year term. This is a 4-year term going forward. They changed the law to line up with presidential campaigns. In so in Alameda County, the DA and the sheriff both have 6-year terms for now until to 2028. As we talked about, the measures. Peralta Community College District, that one's going to pass, needs 2/3. It's at 83% to pass for that parcel tax. That's Alameda, Berkeley, Oakland. Measure B in Castro Valley is a school bond that needs 55%, and right now the no's have it at almost 53%. So, like Measure E in Oakland, this is kind of a surprise, a little bit of a revolt against tax measures, revenue measures in a time of belt tightening in everybody's household. Measure H in Piedmont needs 2/3. It's parcel tax. I believe that's a renewal at 80%. That's likely to pass. Hayward Unified School District has a parcel tax also at it needs 2/3. And actually, right now, we missed this one. It's at 59% right now. So, like we have said, what you could take away from here is that the early votes are conservative, moderate in nature. So as we go further down, uh, if you think progressives like parcel taxes, that could get closer to the 2/3 in Hayward. Definitely something that's needed over there. City of Oakland's Measure C is leading right now at 76%. And again, Measure E at 54% with the no's. It needs a simple majority. That's tightening up. I would say it's going to tighten up. That one could be next week. We know what happens with that race. If it continues with this trend, it could flip maybe by that Friday if it continues by this Friday. And then Measure F in San Leandro is, let me talk about San Leandro. They're passing Measure F easily. This is it won 87%. What they're doing is going to have district-based elections for their council races starting in November. But here's what's the weird thing. They had a hybrid. It's the weirdest thing ever. So it's good that we're never going to talk about this ever again. What happened in San Leandro is that somebody had this brilliant idea that you would have you have to live way it was before until now. You had to live in a district. They have districts right now for their council. You had to live in that district, but the entire city voted for you. What's the point, right? So they're gonna get rid of that part. You just gotta live in the district, and the people vote in the district. So if people talk about elections are too expensive, well, here's a fix. Because now you probably can win with like 3,000, 4,000 voters supporting you, whereas you had to have the whole city running an at-large election. So it limited, and I would say it limited sorry, it's a reason why that city council is not very good, except for some of the people who may be listening here, them excluded. But there, there's no bench ever in San Leandro, and you see that with some of the wild stuff we've seen over the last couple of years is been indicative of that. So possibly we can have a better pool. It's cheaper. People will take that step for in San Leandro because they need help. Let me see here some of these questions here. Let's see here. If anybody has anything else you want to talk about before I sign off and look for the tomorrow we'll be adding a little bit more in depth to some of these races. I'll think about it for an hour and at 6 a.m. The East Bay Insiders newsletter. And if you're not one, go to eastbayinsiders.substack.com and you can get the free, everybody can get the free version, which is just the top story, but there's a lot more. You've seen over the last week, I opened it all free to see exactly what's there, and especially at this go time. So, it's just $40 a year. That's it. You get it every day. You get federal, little bit of state. You get all the board of supervisors. You know exactly what's going on there. And I will tell you over the next couple of months, we're going to do some damage there. I guarantee it. We're going to fix this stuff. I promise you. And if you didn't believe me before, I said Eric Swalwell, Brian Azevedo. I'm not saying who, but we're going to fix this. This is where I'm from. Okay. There's my pitch. I was born in Castro Valley and I've lived in Hayward and San Leandro and Alameda, in Oakland a little bit. I am as East Bay as it comes, and I'm offended that people think they can do what they do with the taxpayers and in our name. And so I'm coming. Make no bones about it, I'm coming. And I've come for others. I'm coming to get you. We're going to clean this place up because I do not think Alameda County is the star it was once. I think Contra Costa, Santa Clara counties have passed us up. And I'm tired of going to eat, drive all the way from Alameda to Walnut Creek to have a good dinner and enjoy myself. Why can't I go to Oakland? Why can't I go to San Leandro? That's what I'm saying. We got people laughing over here. So that was my pitch here and a little preview and check out here, support independent, old school. This is old school journalism. Because I'm tired of people saying to me, like, I've been in journalism for 15 years, worked for the East Bay Express and magazines. I decided not to do that because I want to, first of all, work for people who knew less than me. And that's a pain in the ass in any job that you have to teach your boss everything first and get approval when they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. So I got tired of that. And I'm doing this my own way. And I think that I'm old school. I'm absolutely old school in a new medium. Back in the day, like the East Bay Times, the Chronicle, they're just covering the top level because they're somehow think that they can't go deeper and that people don't want the beat. I'm a beat writer for 14 cities, a county as a whole, and everybody that is in state and the federal that belong here. That's a lot of beats. I do it because I love it. I think about it all the time. And this we have 93 people here at 10:30 listening, and that's what I'm saying. That's what keeps me going every day, is to know that I'm giving people information because that's all I'm doing. We need information. And I'm gonna keep doing this, and these other reporters can steal my stuff. It hurts my bottom line because that could be more. I need every $40 subscription I get more of me, to expand to Contra Costa, could expand to Santa Clara County, to give you more videos like this, to give better social media, to give more. I need everything that I could get because everything goes into building this. It needs to be more than me here. And we have Trishala Vinicota, who has been helpful, but I can't pay her yet. I got other people I can get this really, really taken off, but one step at a time. And it's 93 people here is a many, many steps. And we got 56,000, 5,600 subscribers. But I thank you all, and I thank you for listening. I thank you for reading. Thank you for downloading and listening to the podcast and bring me into your car or your while you're cutting the lawn, tending to your beautiful gardens, whatever. Not wanting to listen to your father who's a Republican. Listen to the podcast, reading every day. Thank you so much. I'm Steve Tavares, East Bay Insiders. Have a good night.